And we're going to have to believe in not what modern scholarship says, the way you're going to look at things. We got to believe in what the Egyptians say. The Egyptians, to this day, I'm ready to debate anybody where they can show me that the ancient Egyptians say that we came from apes. Or to say we came from these different hominid stages that they are claiming. So we got two kind of histories. We're not necessarily saying that they didn't find bones of these older people, these older hominid type of animal people or whatever, but it could very well be bones of a series of apes, and not necessarily the original man.
Yes.
You see, we still get this foolishness from Charles Darwin. And as far as the European is concerned, if you're going to be in his university, you got to make a choice. You either got to believe in the theory of evolution of this ape thing and natural selection, or you got to believe in theology. You see, you got to believe in theology. So let's say if you say you don't believe in the ape thing, they'll say, well, we'll put that in the category of theology. But let's say if you're saying you are a man of science, and you don't necessarily want to put it under the category of theology, then based on his universities, you got to agree
with the Darwin theory.
With the Darwin theory.
Right, because they only have two ways.
Two ways of looking at this thing. That is his way of defining things. And it might not necessarily be, well, it's not the way that the original man looks at things. And so what we're talking about here is a political way to still shut us out of ancient history by lessening the timeline so that somehow he can fit his way as being the ancient man, or not far removed from the ancient man. You see what I'm saying? I want you to hold this thought for a minute. What we're saying here is we're going to have to say if we are the greatest people that ever graced this planet, and if we are so advanced as Egyptians, then we're going to have to believe in what the Egyptians say, what the ancient Africans say. And there's a saying, Alvin Boyd Kuhn, in his book, Who is This King of Glory, and the book, Lost Light, one of John Henry Clark's scholars that he likes to quote a lot, this book, Who is This King of Glory?
Correct.
And in there, one of the chapters, it said that mythology is truer than history. So that means that someone has come in, and over the course of the last couple of 100 years, let's say European scholarship at its apex that we are involved in, it is mainly late 1800s, when we were thrust in this thing, late 1800s and the 20th century.
Well, Bobby, just let me ask you, if you know, how was European history created, initiated? Because history is something that primarily only Europeans write.
Yeah, okay, well, let me...
And when did they base it on?
Okay, well, I'll answer that one by giving you this particular information. Mainly in this 20th century, they have convinced the world that mythology is some type of secondary, primitive, pseudo saying of ancient people who, in so many words, didn't know what they were talking about. This is more mind control and by design to cover up truths of history. In Jeremiah's book, Natural Genesis, he said that the word mythology in Africa is called Mutu, which means truthful history, or truthful sayings. So because someone tells you that mythology is basically a lie, because we even use it in terminologies, well, that's a myth, as to say that it is unimportant or less important than what he defines as truth and reality.